Hi, this video is looking at the AAT sample assessment for spreadsheets applicable for exams from September 2021. Okay, so it's a bit of an unusual exam in that the instructions are quite different. So even if you don't need to watch the actual doing of the spreadsheets, at least watch the start of this video so that you've got an idea what's going to happen. So here I have gone on to the lifelong learning portal on the AAT website. There is only one AAT practice assessment for spreadsheets. So let's just click into this. So I want to spend a moment looking at these instructions. So this will be the same instructions that you will get in the real thing. So look, you are required to open the Excel spreadsheet called Assessment Workbook, which contains the data you require. The assessment is closed book. You must not use any additional support material other than the workbook provided to generate your evidence. So we're doing it under exam conditions, so that meets that criteria. You should read the task scenario and instructions carefully and complete all tasks. It should take you no longer than 2 hours to complete all tasks. Now, I must admit, when I've had a quick look at this, I don't think it's going to take you 2 hours. I think most people probably finish it in an hour or thereabouts, but you have 2 hours. It's not intended to be a time pressured situation. You can view the task instructions alongside the spreadsheet file. So they're suggesting that you split your screen. Personally, I'm going to demonstrate not splitting the screen, but flicking between the instructions, mainly because when you split the screen, a lot of your menus on your spreadsheet sort of disappear and are harder to find. But that is very much personal preference, and I would urge you to have a fiddle around with this yourself and decide which way you are going to approach it in the real thing. So once you've generated your evidence, now this is important, you must upload your assessment workbook only. Right, so the spreadsheet that we're going to be working on, I won't be able to demonstrate this because it's it has to be done through the exam software, but you do not press submit assessment. Right, so if you fast forward to, like, I don't know, about a couple of minutes from the end of this video, I will be showing you sort of a bit of this. So if you don't need to watch me doing the spreadsheets, at least go to the end and just watch what I mean by making sure you do not submit your assessment. What you have to press instead is close assessment and finish later, which is a bit bizarre because you're not going to be coming back to do some more spreadsheets on this. It is finished, but it's all to do with this declaration of authenticity. So you must sign the declaration of authenticity to confirm that you have not had any help with this assessment. The declaration must also be completed and countersigned by your assessment centre. It is important that all work produced is your own. If you fail to confirm authenticity, your work will not be marked. Your assessment centre must upload the signed declaration and submit your assessment for marking. Now, this is all new to me as well right now. This is I'm making this before anybody's actually sat this for the first time. So what I envisage is under exam conditions, your access to the spreadsheet exam will be open, and then you have the 2 hours to complete the work. You then have to make sure that you say close assessment and finish later. You will then have to sign a declaration of authenticity. Quite exactly how that works, I'm not sure, but we will work that out on the day. and then I will have to sign, or Richard in exams will have to sign also, and then we have 3 days as an assessment centre to finalise that and upload it all so that it's ready to be marked. All right, so the most important thing to take away from this is do not press submit. Right, if you take nothing else away from this video, that is the most important thing. Right, so moving on, you're given a little scenario. So Cohen Smith started Coco's Bakery 2 years ago. The business consists of a cake decorating school and a shop selling to both the public and to a range of cafes. Cohen also sells goods on the internet. Payment is generally made by cash, credit or debit cards, but sales to other businesses are on credit, and Cohen invoices these on a weekly basis. You've been asked to use the information below to prepare documents to show how the business has performed in the last 6 months. Now, the good thing is with this exam, there is no assumed accountancy knowledge, i.e. you're not suddenly going to have to know how to do a break-even analysis or produce a set of accounts, for example, but it is still pinned within a business scenario. As we go through this, you'll see that you don't have to have any knowledge at this stage. So I then need to zoom out so that I can see the start button. Any time today, we might get there. There it is. Right, so press the start button and off we go. Now it says at the top there, 2 days remaining. That's until the upload. You haven't got 2 days to complete the exam. You will have 2 hours. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So here are the task instructions. So they are not within a tab in the spreadsheet anymore, those of you that were sort of getting ready for the old style exam. So they've given you all the instructions. They've also given you these handy highlighting arrows. So you can sort of highlight when you've done something so you don't keep getting lost. So that's quite handy. But we are going to have to keep flicking between these instructions and the assessment book. So I'm just going to download that now. Oh, I've done it twice by accident, never mind. Right, so here is the assessment book. I'm just going to make that large on the screen. Enable editing. So as you can see, you've got all these tabs. This is the one that's been provided, but there's nothing with the instructions. So to get back to the instructions, I have to flick back to the Secure Assess. So I can flick quite comfortably between the spreadsheet and the Secure Assess, or of course you can use your, there's all my pages that are open, you can use this tool alternatively. So it depends what you like to do. So let's go back to the instructions. Open the assessment workbook. I've done that. You must save your work as an XLSX file. It will do that by default, I'm pretty sure. So all you will need to do, we've got to save it somewhere, and we've got to call it SPSH and then your AAT number. So file, save as, let's just stick this on the desktop, and I would save it SPSH and then my AAT number. This isn't really my AAT number, by the way, and then save it. Right, so back to the instructions. Open the worksheet called Profitability and insert a header with Coco's Bakery and the current date. Both must be right aligned. Okay, so to put in a header, so we haven't had this in any of the Kaplan scenarios. So insert, no, that's not what I want. Where are we? Sorry, insert here, header and footer takes me to my header. So it's to be right aligned, so that's this box here, and I've forgotten what it wanted me to say, so I'll flick back. It says Coco's Bakery. So Coco's Bakery, and then it wants today's date. Now I could just type in today's date, but I suspect it wants it to change. Now I don't remember how to do that, so I'm going to go to the tell me what you want to do, and I'm just going to put in current date. And it's done it, see? And open square brackets, date, close brackets, right? So that's my header. So now if I click out of that header, it has put in today's date. If I want to look at this back in a normal way, if I go to view, sorry, and then normal, that gives me my spreadsheet back in the way that I'm used to looking at it. So I've done that one. Part B. The profitability worksheet contained an incomplete budget for the next 6 months. Oh, actually, before I go any further, I just want to talk about how this is marked. So I've had a look at the mark scheme, and for this example one, which is all we've got to go on at the moment, there are 35 marks altogether. So you can see 15 marks for this first task. And it's pretty much marked 1 mark for everything that you have to do. So in that first part, there was 1 mark for inserting the name, Coco's Bakery, and there was 1 mark for doing today's date. And then in this second one, part B, you can see that there's a number of parts, so it's going to be 1 mark to correct this error, 1 mark for linking formulas, and 1 mark for the formulas at the end. So that bit's out of 3. The mark scheme is on the AAT website, but I'm not really going to say much more than that because it's pretty much 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. However, what I thought was interesting, so 35 marks altogether, which means to get to just about clear the 70%, you need to get 25 out of 35 on this spreadsheet assessment. Remember that what mark you get does not actually influence whether you end up with a pass, a merit, or a distinction. You just have to be competent or not competent. So you only have to clear the hurdle, all right? So you don't have to do everything absolutely perfectly to pass this. So next bit, the profitability worksheet contains an incomplete budget for the next 6 months. The sales and the cost of sales relating to this period are shown in the worksheet called cost of sales. So that's here. So I've got sales by month, large case, small case, other, and cost of sales, the same categories. Okay, so just familiarising myself with it there. Nothing to actually do there. So Cohen mentioned to you that one of the formulas used to calculate the total expenses in row 11 was incorrect. So total expenses in row 11. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong thing, aren't I? So I should be in this one. So, right, so what have I got here? January, February, March, for all the months, sales, cost of sales. All right, here we are. So total expenses in row 11. Conveniently, Excel's put a little triangle there telling me there's a problem. The formula in this cell differs from the formulas in this area of the spreadsheet. Right, so if I look at the one next to it, you can see the total expenses is summing D6 down to D10. But then if I look at the April one, it's E7. So clearly that should be E6. So I can just over type it And that is it corrected. Right, use a formula to insert the totals from the sales cost of sales worksheet into rows 3 and 4 of the profitability worksheet. Right, so rows 3 and 4 are here and here. So I want sales figures for January. Yep, so if we look here, the total sales for January made up of those different types of cakes is going to be that figure there. So I want that figure there to end up in here. So if I go equals, go across to the other page and link it just by clicking there, you can see it's telling me I've got to go to this other worksheet and select cell B6, which is what I want. And then I just want to copy that across. I don't need any absolute cell referencing because I do want it to pull along. All right, so that looks okay to me. And then cost of sales, so equals, and I want that figure. And again, I can copy that along. Right, good, done that. Use formulae to calculate the gross profit for each month. So this is in B5 to G5. So you can see it looks like it's going to tell you exactly where to put things, which is really nice. And it even tells you the formula. So gross profit is sales subtract cost of sales. Right, so formula is equals sales minus cost of sales, and then just copy it along. Done. Use formulae to calculate the profit for each month. So B12 to G12. Note profit for each month is the gross profit subtract expenses. Right, so profit for the month here equals gross profit subtract expenses. And then let's just copy that along. Right, so far so good. You can see flicking between the instructions and the doing doesn't seem to be too bad. Even I'm managing to cope with it, which is no mean feat, and I'm on a laptop, so hopefully that's going to be okay. So then it says format the worksheet as follows. B3 to G12 in currency to 2 decimal places. B3 to G12. B3 to G12. I want to be currency, which does 2 decimal places anyway, so that's nice. Done. Display the column headings in columns B to G as bold and double underlined. Right, so that was these, I think. So we want bold and double underlined. So just the drop down menu to there, we'll do that. Part D, insert a row between rows 12 and 13. So there is a space between the table and the profit margin. So we want a row in here. So if I left click on the 13 and then right click insert, it will put a spare row in. So I've done that. And then format the cells B14 to G14 to show percentages to 2 decimal places. So B14 to G14, so percent to 2 decimal places. We'll see if that's worked when we actually get some numbers in there. Starting in cell B14, use formulas to calculate the profit margin for each month as a percentage to 2 decimal places. And profit margin it tells us divide the profit by the sales. So profit margin equals profit divide by sales. And I don't need to do the times 100 because I've already selected the percentage formatting, and I clicked on that increase decimal twice, which gives me 2 decimal places, and that looks like a nice percentage to 2 decimal places. So let's drag that along, same formula for each of the months. Merge the cells in row 1 so that the title is centered over the data. Right, so all you've got to do there is if I left click there and then highlight right away to G, and then just you click this button, merge and center, and you can like have different options, but we just want merge and center, so you just click on that. Done. Freeze the worksheet so that column A and rows 1 and 2 are visible. Right, so if I want column A to be visible, I need to click, if I wanted, you know, not to worry about the rows, I would just click here, which would freeze column A, but it's asked me to freeze column A and rows 1 and 2. So if you click in the first cell that you want to move, if that makes sense, I'll show you how this works. So to freeze cells, if you go to view and then freeze panes, gives you an option to just freeze the top row or just freeze the first column. But by clicking in that box first, if I now go freeze panes, see those little lines that have arrived? So then if I scroll across, it keeps column A there, so as I can always see those headings. And likewise, if we scroll down, you can see it keeps the January, February, March. Okay. Set the worksheet to show all formulas. Take a screenshot, paste the screenshot into screenshot, and then change back to values. Right, so I'm going to go formulas, show formulas. Now, a screenshot of that's going to be a bit, you're not going to be able to see it all, so I'm actually going to further make columns the width they need to be by highlighting all and double clicking there. It didn't tell me to do that, but now if I do a screenshot, it's all going to be visible. So print screen, go to the screenshot, right click, paste. All right, so that's done that. Go back here and declick the show formulas. Now, of course, this makes it all too small, so then just make them all a nice size width of column again. I've done that. And then rename the screenshot formulas. I'm going to tick that because I know how to do that. So screenshot, right click, rename formulas. That's 15 marks out of 35. So what's that as a percentage? 15 out of 35. That's 43% of the exam done already. Right, task 2. Cohen wants to review his pricing and produce a new price list for July 20X1. He has provided you with a current inventory sheet showing the unit sales price and the cost price of these products. Right, so let's look at the price list. So category, item, sales price, cost price. Yeah. It's always good just to familiarise yourself with what it actually looks like because it makes the instructions sort of make a bit more sense. Apply data validation to A3 to A20 to ensure the only categories are those shown in cells K3 to K5. Right, so A3 to A20. So here we want to apply data validation, and we want to only allow a list, and the source of that list is here. Right, so now you can see if we try to put anything else in, it only allows those 3 options on the drop down. So I've done that. Cohen is going to increase all of his selling prices by 8%, with the prices rounded down to the nearest penny. Use appropriate rounding formulae to calculate the new selling price for each inventory item in cells F3 to F20. I want to use the round down function. I'm just pausing because they've said a rounding formulae. No, I'm going to use the round down function because I want it rounded down to the nearest penny. Right, this is what I would do. So revised sales price. So what did they say? It's going up by 8%, and we've got to round it down to the nearest penny. So I'm going to click on that FX, and I'm going to use round down, which is on my list for recent use. So I want to round down. Now, what number is it? He's putting the price up by 8%. So it's going to be the sales price times 1.08 to add on 8%. Now, if I'm rounding down to the nearest penny, pennies is 2 decimal places, so I'm going to put 2 in there and then say OK. And then I'm going to drag that all the way down. Right, in cell F21, use a function, or they've been very specific here, not a formulae, to identify the average of the new selling prices. So in here, I want equals average. So I just typed it in this time, open bracket, and I want the average of all of that lot. Close bracket, £6 and a penny. Format the worksheet so that cells E21 to F21 are coloured yellow with the same font. So I just want to go home, and then that's my fill. So I can just change it to yellow. It's already yellow, so I can just click on that, or I could have, if it wasn't already yellow, you can pick what colour you want. So pick the yellow, that's done. That's 4 marks altogether for that section. Right, task 3 for 6 marks. Cohen has asked you to complete an invoice to Woodhead's Cafe using the new prices. Open the worksheet called Invoice. Use the appropriate lookup function to populate cells C19 and C20 for the products using the increased pricing. Right, so we go to the invoice here. This is a good use of VLOOKUP actually. So it wants me to use VLOOKUP in here and here to look up this item and return the revised sales price. Right, so let's use the function button up here. So I want VLOOKUP. I want to look up this. I want to look it up here. And now the column index number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we want that to be exact. Something's gone wrong. So I'm looking up B19, the sponge cake, A3 to F20. Don't know what's gone wrong with that. Let's try it again. Delete. Right, equals, so I'm going to do it this way this time. V lookup, open bracket, look up the name, sponge cake 20 centimeters. Look it up here. Oh, I see what I did wrong. I highlighted all the way to there, but actually I'm looking it up in this column. So actually I just want to look it up in that table array. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's the 5th column, and I want it exact. There we go, that's better. Right, what's it telling me there? Unprotected formula, okay, that's fine. Now obviously if I copied that down it wouldn't be right because my table array would alter, so I'm just going to change that to an absolute cell reference, and then I'm going to drag that formula down there. You can see they've already set the invoice so that it multiplies the price by the quantity to work out the amount due. Right, protect the worksheet so that users are only able to enter data into cells A19 to D32. Right, so I want to be able to enter stuff in A19 to D32. So what I would do first is I go right click, format cells, protection, and normally that would already be ticked, that locked button, but it isn't. So if that had been ticked, that's what I was expecting to see. I would have unticked it so that these cells are not protected in a minute when I set the protection for the worksheet. So okay that, and then if we highlight the whole worksheet and we go into review, protect sheet, right, so that's what we want. We don't want a password, so say okay. And then if you get one of these, just check if it's worked. So I'm thinking I want to be able to type in here, right? So it's letting me do that, so that's good. But I don't want to be able to type anywhere else, and it isn't. So I'm happy that that has worked as intended. By the way, this is out of 6, so there's 2 marks for each part. Change the print setting so that the invoice will print out on one page in portrait orientation. Right, so I would go File, Print, Page Setup, and then I want it to be Portrait, Fit to 1, okay, and it will show me what that's going to look like, and then I can go back. Okay, and then if we were to look at the view, if we were to look at the page break view, it would then show that as all being fitted to one page, hence that blue line around the outside of page 1. So I'm happy with that. Right, so I am now 25 marks through, so if I'd done all that correctly I would now have passed the test, but never mind, we'll do the rest. So 3 marks on task 4. Cohen would like to analyse his sales by sales assistant employed. Open the sales assistant worksheet, use the appropriate function to subtotal the quantity and the revenue for each sales assistant. Right, so when I'm doing subtotaling, if I want it by each sales assistant, I first have to sort my data by sales assistant. So data sort by sales assistant A to Z. My data has headers. Yes. Right, so I've now got it, hey, all the Hayden, all the Coney. You have to do that first to be able to do the subtotaling. So then I shouldn't have unhighlighted it, sorry about that. So then highlight it again. And then we want to use subtotal also in the data. So each change in sales assistant, sum, I've forgotten what it said now, sum the quantity and the revenue. So the quantity and the revenue. Press OK. And you can see, so it's doing, so there's Hayden, quantity, revenue, subtotals there and there. Adjust all columns to a suitable width. So you can't see that at the moment. So if we highlight there, double click, it will do what's been asked. Right, final task. Cohen would like to analyse his sales data for last year. He has 3 sales outlets, the shop, the cake decorating school and the internet. He's trying to identify his best-selling line of the year and sales outlet which generated the most income. Open the sales analysis worksheet. Using the data in cells A3 to D56, create a pivot table and chart on the same sheet, starting in cell I3. Right, so we want both. All right, so just going back to that for a minute. It even tells you, look, using the data A3 to D56. How nice is that? It even tells you what to highlight. Right, so we want a chart and we want a table and a chart. So 2 ways of doing this. Oh, sorry, not like that. Press the home button. So if I go insert, I can insert just the pivot table and then add the chart later. Or we can go here and do them both at the same time. So I'm actually going to go with option 1 because in the instructions, it tells me what to put in rows and columns. And if I do them both at the same time, I'll show you quickly. We want it in the existing worksheet this time in I3, was it? I think so. I'll check that in a minute. But when you do it this way, it doesn't say rows and columns. It says axis and legend. It doesn't really matter. But if we just undo that for a minute, if instead we go insert pivot table, I'm just going to check which cell it said. Yeah, it was I3. Existing worksheet I3. If we do that one first, you can see it's now, it calls it rows and columns, which is probably just a bit easier if they're going to tell you that you want product for the rows and type of sale for the column. So product for the rows, type of sale for the column, and clearly I want to sum the revenue. So that is my pivot table. And then if you just go to insert, home, Where's it gone? Oh, here it is. Sorry, I couldn't see it looking. Right, so insert pivot chart. Right, it brings it up like this. So immediately we can look and see what type of chart we want. So so I've created a pivot chart and table. Pivot table should show, done that. I should tick those off. Change the chart type to a 3D clustered column chart. So this is the other advantage of doing it this way. Can you see at the top there, it's telling me the names of these types of charts. So a 3D clustered column, so I want that one. And then I can just drag that underneath so that I can see both. Right, then it says ensure that a legend is visible on the left hand side of the chart. So the legend is the key, this bit here. So if I go plus legend, see it gives me a little arrow and I want that to be on the left. So it just moves it over so that you can use this. It's quite handy for, you know, saying what you want, if you want to add a title or whatever. So that's that one. Change the colour of the school data to green and ensure all data is visible. So the school is the one that's orange at the moment. So if I click there, you can see it, I just left clicked on that first orange one and it's highlighted all of those. And then if I go right click, oh, it's taken me straight to like this little fill option here. Where I could have gone through format data series, but I'll just use this. So it wants that to be green. So you can see just clicking that to green has had the desired effect. So I've done that. Is the data visible? Yeah, I think so. Right, next bit. Last bit. Cohen would like to know which are the top 5 sales. Use conditional formatting in column D to format the top 5 items as red. So column D, conditional formatting, and we can use this top bottom rule. So I want the, was it the top 5? Got brain like a sieve. Top 5, yes. So conditional formatting, top 10. And then we just change it to be the top 5, and we want it light red fill with dark red text, which is what we get. Okay to that. So you can see it's highlighted those 5 highest figures. And that is it. All uploaded, let's just have a look at the instructions. All uploaded evidence should be titled with SPSH and your AAT number. So we've done that for this spreadsheet already. Your assessment workbook must be uploaded using the button below. You can check your uploaded files at any time. Right, so should you have any issues uploading, please refer to the upload troubleshooting on this page for solutions. Obviously, there will be people on hand in the exam to help as well. This document is for guidance, does not form part of the assessment. You must upload your assessment workbook only. Do not submit your assessment. Click close and then close assessment and finish later. Right, so there they have it again. So to upload files, just make this slightly smaller. So view, zoom out as I can see that. So there's the upload troubleshooting that we could have a look at if we need to. And then upload files. Now it won't work on here because it's just a sample one, but in the exam it will be like when you had to upload for Sage, and how I've shown you how to upload when you thought you were going to do this exam under the old format. So you just click on that, you select your file, and then here you can see, right, yes, I've uploaded that, so you would tick it. Then declaration of authenticity, click on the button below to download the declaration of authenticity. I haven't done this before, so I'm just doing this live for the first time. So that opens up this Word document. So you are going to have to fill this in. So you'll put your number in there, Chelmsford College, and we will put AH333, which is our assessment centre code, but you will be reminded of that on the day also. And then I confirm that all evidence submitted is my own unaided work, and you just type your name in here. I confirm my assessment workbook has been deleted from all storage areas of my computer after uploading to the assessment platform. Right, so that is your responsibility to make sure. So if you've saved it on your desktop, which is recommended, then it must be deleted fully from the computer that you have been working on. Again, please ask for assistance with that in the exam. Right, and then this is for the assessment centre to complete. So this will be myself or Richard. So either I confirm the assessment was administered under supervised conditions and the evidence submitted is authentic and been produced solely by the student. So that's what we will be ticking because we are doing it under exam conditions. We did have the option to do this. The assessment was completed by the student in unsupervised conditions. To the best of my knowledge, the work submitted has been produced solely by the student. Additional evidence to support the authenticity will be provided, e.g. a load of other stuff, right? So you can see it's a lot easier just to do it under exam conditions and be done with it, which is why we've opted for that. So then we will be signing and stating our role at the assessment centre, right? And that has to be completed or they will not mark the work, right? So how do I get back now if I close that so I don't save? Right, so and then upload files. So you would have to, so obviously I was working on a Word document there, you would have saved it on your desktop, you would have completed it, and then you would upload that as well. Right, so confirm you have uploaded the required documents. So you have to upload both of those. Right, and then you press close. And at this point, it will show you the two things that you have uploaded. So if there's nothing there like this, something's gone wrong and you need to go return and fix it. Okay. Assuming that you can see both of the things that you have intended to upload, you press continue. And then this is the crucial bit. In case I haven't said it enough times, you close and finish later. All right. Do not submit. So click on this one. Yeah, you don't want it to be submitted yet because I have to do my bit. And that is it. All right, hope you found that useful. That's the end of the video.